Hey, what's going on, everyone? Matt Jarbo here with $3 Theater, and Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker definitely has its fair share of problems. As much as I enjoyed the movie, a lot of people out there from across the fandom have found themselves absolutely complaining about one thing or another. And a lot of things that really kind of, I think, brought both the Reylos and anti-Reylos together was this kiss right here, this end of the movie kiss. Oh my God, they finally made out. They finally acknowledged their love for one another. Ben and Rey in that one last embrace before he died after giving his life force to save her. And every time I think about that out loud, just as a quick side note, I always kind of think of like what it's like when a male praying mantis has sex with a female praying mantis and he dies afterward. It's an odd analogy to make, but it feels tragic enough. That being said, when you, yeah, I made that analogy. Deal with it, comments. That being said, one of the things that has never really fully been confirmed, at least until now, is the intent of that kiss. Many people, myself included, thought that it was a sweet moment. When I saw it in Los Angeles, there were audible gasps from the audience, right? Women were, oh, sacre bleu. They made out with one another. We were not expecting the tongue-on-tongue action, right? They weren't expecting that, but that's what happened. I heard gasps, audible gasps. They seemed to like it. I actually did like it. I thought that it was a nice way, because there was a line earlier on. She says to Ben, she's like, "You asked me to take your hand, and I would have taken Ben's hand." And that coming off of the interpersonal scenes between them and The Last Jedi, which were actually a couple of the scenes that I really enjoyed out of that movie, I'm like, yeah, they're laying the groundwork for some serious romantic stuff. But apparently, according to the novelization that came out, or that's going to be coming out, it's their kiss was not romantic. Saying here that Ray Carlson's novelization of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker finally reveals the kiss between Rey and Ben Solo wasn't romantic. And at this point, Reylos the internet over are going, no! Why? No, really, they're freaking out. Reylos are crazy people in general. Let's just be fair. They're crazy people in general. They weird me the hell out. I don't get shippers. If I'm being honest with you, I don't get shippers. I'm not a big fan of that, but I still enjoyed the general idea of what this relationship could have been. I did. I really kind of liked it. And I wanted to see what they were going to be able to do with it. But this is the text from the book itself. It says here, his heart was full as Rey reached for his face, let her fingers linger against his cheek, and then, wonder of wonders, she leaned forward and kissed him. A kiss of gratitude, acknowledgement of their connection, a celebration that they'd found each other at last. But then she drew back, concern on her face. She could feel him growing cold. Ben smiled at her. He had given Rey back to the galaxy. It wouldn't atone for the darkness he'd wrought, but it was what he could do. I don't know. I still think that's romantic. I don't think it's not romantic. I mean, they didn't come right out and say it, but it's like, come on. You know, when like she's dead and he, you know, he's like, and then she comes back and then she gives him the kiss that kind of seemingly out of nowhere, right? It felt like that was one of those moments of her like, this is Ben. They found each other. That's generally not the kind of line that is said, right? That is said when, you know, there's not going to be pelvis bashing later on. You know what I mean? If there's no pipe to be laid, that's not the kind of kiss that's going to happen. There was some serious pipe that was going to be seriously laid down the road. I mean, there's no other way to describe that kind of kiss. I have kissed many women. That may surprise you a bit, but I have kissed many women over the years. And that kind of kiss right there was never just platonic. Because it wasn't like your auntie giving you a peck on the cheek, you know what I mean? It wasn't like your mom's friend Beth from the card game coming over going, "Oh, look at you, you little cutie patootie. You're going to be a heartbreaker when you get older. Oh my goodness, you committed genocide. That's so," you know, none of that. No, none of that happens. None of that happens. But of course, unfortunately, the world we live in, this is what they're trying to say. So Reylos are upset, obviously, because there was no Ben Force Ghost, which I'm fine with. And then they kind of had this kiss taken away from them. The thing is, I think the kiss was romantic. I don't care. The novelization doesn't come right out and say it, but I think Screen Rant is getting it wrong on that one. But then again, it's Screen Rant, so, you know. It's a day that ends in Y. But that being said, I look at it and I go, okay, everything they had established in this movie was meant to please as many people as humanly possible. JJ Abrams approached the Rise of Skywalker with every intent on pleasing as many people as humanly possible. That's what he wanted to do. That's what he set out to do. And at the end of the day, they kind of failed on that front, right? Like I even did a video the other day talking about elements of the novelization, saying that it made it even worse because we could get story beats that should have been in the finished product, especially about, you know, Palpatine being a clone. Like, yeah. I mean, like, I kind of figured that out, right? But it's like, come out and show how it happened, or at least tell how it happened. Add the line of dialogue in there, and it would have made that scene a lot more palatable. You know, some people responded back with, oh, it would have taken a lot more than just that to make the movie better. Yeah, whatever, you cynical bastards. I don't care what you have to say. I really don't. I enjoyed it. So, blow me? But no, they could have done a lot more with it, I think, to make it a lot more to make it a lot more complete. And honestly, leaning into the Reylo relationship, I think ultimately was kind of for the best, right? Because if you think about it, if we go back to the original trilogy, if you think about the framing of the original trilogy, and yeah, I'm comparing them a little bit, right? When you meet Luke, the first character you meet that we spend any time with, and you know, because we could say we met Leia first, but really, you know, we did, but ultimately it was about Luke and his journey. And then he meets Leia and we think, oh, he's going to go rescue the princess. This is going to be the hero's journey. Luke is going to go smash that. And if you think the kiss on the cheek before the swing across the crevasse in the Death Star, the kiss on the mouth and the opening of The Empire Strikes Back as a way to get back at Han Solo, and him going back there like, yeah, that's right, I just made out with the princess. What y'all up to? You know, they were kind of like laying the groundwork that it was going to be, you know, there was going to be that love triangle, and then she was going to end up with, you know, Luke. Typical movie logic applies there. And then, of course, that didn't happen, and she ended up hooking up with Han Solo, and, you know, he got frozen in carbonite. But the whole idea there is apply that to Rey and Finn. Finn meets Rey. You think they're kind of setting them up, right? She cares for him, he cares for her. But it's not that kind of relationship. Even though John Boyega has trolled people on Twitter talking about laying that pipe, you know, the fact that he did it was quite astounding. But he made the joke on Instagram about laying that pipe, and it got a lot of people pretty upset at him. I think it ultimately boils down here to the concept that they were kind of playing that same dynamic where Finn was the good guy. He was the guy next door. You know, he wasn't ever going to actually, he was like the farm boy who was a former stormtrooper, you know, but that's his naivety was not what Rey was after. Rey was looking for someone she could connect with. And if they were going to play up Finn being force sensitive as a way to bring Rey and Finn together, they really dropped the ball on that one, right? They really dropped the ball on that. And that, again, is just another problem with that movie. Finn, you could eject Finn from that entire movie, and I think it would be okay. I think it would actually have a net positive, if I'm being honest with you, because his storyline was just like, space horses. I didn't mind the horses, but it's mockable. It is. I mean, it's like, you know, like, oh, we have to get close to these ships. I have an idea. Let's bring horses. Because at the end of the movie, where did they go, right? Did you see the horses do anything else after that one shot? The answer to that is no. No, they left a lot of horses to die in Exegol. On that Star Destroyer. I like the movie, but my God, when you start breaking it down bit by bit, you can start seeing the cracks in that armor. But that being said, look, the Reylo kiss it should be romantic, in my opinion. And if it's not romantic, then they did a really horrible job at framing it as not being romantic. But as always, I leave it to you. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your opinions, because you guys are going to have fun in the comments on this one. I swear to God. And so to wrap things up here, if you guys like this kind of content and you want to see more of it and you want to help support the channel, hey, we got channel memberships now. My God. You can become a matinee member for $2 a month, which is just a way to show the love. A Prime member for $5 gets you access to member-only live streams at the end of the month. And of course, you can then become an IMAX executive producer for $10 a month, which gets your names in the video credits. So that is something worth potentially diving into if vanity is your game. trying to sell it here, guys. Cut me a break. Anyway, or if you guys don't want to jump into any of that, and that's entirely fine, be sure to head on over here to facebook.com/groups/$3 Theater in order to get access to the private group where you guys can share stories with me. We can talk about upcoming movies. We can have all sorts of discussions. I think it's going to be a lot of fun going forward, and I will talk to you guys all later. Thank you again for watching. Have yourself a fantastic day, and peace out.